I'm here again in the Better Homes and Gardens kitchen. This is the test kitchen where they make sure all the recipes really work when you get to go make them. Of course, coming from the famous Red Plaid cookbook. This is the new version. You definitely want to get this. It's a great gift. And who doesn't love mac and cheese? I think it might be my favorite thing and my kids' favorite thing, but there's nothing like homemade mac and cheese. And in here, you are gonna find a fabulous recipe for the creamiest mac and cheese ever.
Today I'm making a 4-cheese macaroni and cheese. It's a classic recipe that we've kind of revamped. We have a lot of different variations on this recipe, ways to make it fancier with bacon and blue cheese, or ways to sneak vegetables into the recipe, or just your classic macaroni and cheese that, you know, Americans love. One of the main things about this recipe, I think, that makes it special is the key of grating your own already shredded cheese. It has a cellulose anti-caking powder on it and also a little mold inhibitor. And the way that a cheese melts can be dramatically affected by those added starches and ingredients. So we find that for the best sauce, for the creamiest, not grainy sauce, we just grate our own cheese. As you can see, for this recipe, since it's a 4-cheese, we're starting off with some Swiss, Gouda, some Parmesan, and then just some classic sharp cheddar to really round out the flavor. And we also find that if you grate on a piece of wax paper, it makes it so that you're not having kind of that sticky cheese that you're trying to scoop off of your board when you're ready to make your recipe. You can kind of just pick up the paper, you know, go to your stove and kind of just scoop it in as you go. So that's a handy little trick. So as you can see, we have some nice bubbling around the edge of our pot. That means that our sauce has come to a boil and we've been able to thicken our starch. You can see we've picked up a little bit of body on it. So the next thing we're going to want to do is turn our heat to a nice low setting when you're stirring in your cheese. You want to do it gradually. You don't want your heat too hot or you could break the cheese sauce. And then from here you just start adding your cheese little by little, making sure that you keep whisking. Just get it nice and incorporated as you go. And once you get it all stirred together, you're ready to put it in your casserole dish, and then just take a little bit of melted butter, some panko breadcrumbs is a really great option. It has a little bit more texture. It's a lighter, crispier breadcrumb. Just stir some panko breadcrumbs, some butter, and some additional Parmesan if you have it on hand to kind of flavor that up. Sprinkle that on top of your macaroni and cheese in your dish. Throw it in the oven for about a half an hour just to kind of toast that up, heat everything through, and you've got a wonderful dish that'll feed about 8 people. So one of our variations on this recipe is a butternut squash mac and cheese. For adults or kids that really don't mind the texture of butternut squash, you could leave it in cubes like this. We've just cubed it up, tossed it with a little olive oil, and roasted it at 450 degrees till it's tender. If you're trying to be a little sneakier and incorporate it in without the kids knowing, just take this, throw it in a food processor, or even use a potato masher, kind of puree it up to get a smoother consistency. Just throw it in your white sauce when you're making your mac and cheese. The kids will never know what's in there. Adds a ton of vitamin A, some fiber, a little bit of vitamin C, so it really amps it up. This is the 4-cheese macaroni and cheese made in the Better Homes and Gardens test kitchen.
I did go home and make that.
Did you?
It did come out really nice and creamy.
All right. Well, it looks delicious. The Better Homes and Gardens cookbook, now known lovingly as the Red Plaid cookbook, has recipes for several different twists on the traditional mac and cheese. You'll recall I made the butternut squash mac and cheese over the holidays for you.
You made it?
Well, let's just move on.
And the 17th edition of the cookbook is now available wherever books are sold.
Better Homes and Gardens is owned by the station's parent company, the Meredith Corporation.
Right. From comfort food to a comfort cocktail.
How does an Irish coffee sound?
We're celebrating Irish Coffee Day with our Better Bartender. Learn the traditional way to make it and some other twists on the traditional in 2.
Yum.